Specific moment.
Here we come, Millennium News Hour. To get you connected.
Please enjoy our entertainment and latest news and views.
Our Millennium TV apps: Millennium TV USA Android, Millennium News Google Way, Millennium 24. Come stay with Millennium News 24. Thank you.
Welcome to Hello America, Millennium Daily News Update. I am with you. Now details this time. Roughly 3 in 4 American adults believe the upcoming presidential election is vital to the future of U.S. democracy, although which candidate they think poses the greater threat depends on their political leanings, according to a new poll. The survey from the Associated Press New York Center for Public Affairs Research finds that most Democrats, Republicans, and Independents see the election as very important or extremely important to democracy, while Democrats have a higher level of intensity about the issue. More than half of Democrats say the November election is extremely important to the future of U.S. democracy, compared to about 4 in 10 Independents and Republicans. Democrat Pamela Hansen, 67, of Amory, Wisconsin, said she has grave concerns for the future of democracy in the country if Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump gets elected. Governor Tim Walz and his fellow Democrats have enacted big changes in the 2 years that they've had full control of the Minnesota legislature, from expansions of abortion and debt plus rights to tax credits and other initiatives aimed at making life easier for families. His record has delighted liberals and progressives and is a major reason why Vice President Kamala Harris chose him to be her running mate. He doesn't try to claim all the credit. Strong Democratic legislative leaders also played major roles, but his record continues to draw condemnation from Republicans, who say he squandered a huge budget surplus that's have been used for tax cuts, failed to prevent hundreds of millions of dollars in fraud, and acted too slowly to quell the violence that followed the murder of George Floyd. Here's some of what Walz has done as governor and how it might connect to the campaign. Note that he's on the Democratic Party ticket. While former President Donald Trump and running mate J.D. Vance have been hammering Minnesota Governor Tim Walz over his response to the violence that erupted after George Floyd's murder, Trump told the governor at the time that he fully agreed with how Walz handled it. What they did in Minneapolis was incredible. They went in and dominated, and it happened immediately, Trump told Walz and other governors and officials in a phone call on June 1, 2020. The Associated Press on Wednesday obtained an audio recording of the call, which has taken on new significance now that Walz has been tapped as Vice President Kamala Harris' running mate against Trump and Vance. Other administration officials on the call included Defense Secretary Mark Esper, Army General Mark Milley, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and Attorney General William Barr. The makings of a presidential ticket began in an unusual spot 6 months ago, a Minnesota abortion clinic. At the time, it was a historic visit for Vice President Kamala Harris. No president or vice president had ever made a public stop at one. But the visit laid the groundwork for Harris to connect with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and learn about his interest in reproductive health, an issue Harris has taken the lead on during her White House term. At first glance, the 60-year-old governor might not seem the most likely of political surrogates to talk about abortion and pregnancy. But Harris found a partner who has a track record of increasing abortion access in his state and can speak comfortably about his own family's struggles with infertility. Already, Walz has captivated crowds in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin with the story of his daughter's birth, made possible through in vitro fertilization. The procedure involves retrieving a woman's eggs and combining them in a lab dish with sperm to create a fertilized embryo, that is transferred into the woman's uterus in hopes of creating a pregnancy. Nancy Pelosi's influence can be seen all across the Democratic Party shakeup that in a few short, agonizing weeks has re-engineered the 2024 presidential elect and the race for the White House. It was Pelosi who publicly encouraged President Joe Biden to make a decision about his re-election campaign when he had already insisted he had no plans to step aside. Once he exited and endorsed Kamala Harris atop the ticket, it was Pelosi who was a big fan of her future running mate, Tim Walz. For the House Speaker Emerita, the upheaval is less about Biden, a friend of 40 years, and more about Republican Donald Trump, the former president she refers to as Bozo, a snake oil salesman, what's his name, and the creature from the Black Lagoon. How can I say this in the nicest possible way? My goal in life was that man would never step in the White House again, Pelosi said, slapping the table with every word. Days of rain forced the deluge-hardened residents of a South Carolina community to begin the near-ritualistic task of assessing damage left behind by Tropical Storm Debby, which continued spinning over the Atlantic Ocean and influencing thunderstorms from the East Coast to the Great Lakes on Wednesday. In Hugger, about 15 miles 24 kilometers northeast of Charleston, Gene Taylor was waiting in the afternoon for a few inches of water to drain from his house along French Quarter Creek as high tide passed. Taylor saw the potential for flooding last week and started moving belongings out or up higher in his home. It's a lesson learned the hard way. Taylor estimated that this is the fourth time he has had floodwater in his home in the past 9 years. To save everything, we've learned from the past it's better be prepared for the worst. And unfortunately, I think got it, Taylor said. A few doors down, Charles Griner was cleaning up after about 8 inches 20 centimeters of water got into his home. A short break from the Hello America, Millennium Daily News. Stay tuned. This world continuously revolving around various events.
Every minute, every second something is happening.
Somewhere around the globe, and you want to get connected to that event or to that specific moment.
Here we come, Millennium News Hour, to get you connected with top USA and international trending news.
Which includes local news, political news, world news, business news, health and science-related news, entertainment news, sports news, and so on.
Log in to get the latest news. Our all social networking site Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok is Millennium News 24.
Also, our YouTube channel is News Channel N24. View us now on both network broadcasting Android and iOS devices.
Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, also all smart TV platforms.
Please enjoy our entertainment and latest news and views.
Our Millennium TV apps: Millennium TV USA Android, Millennium News Google Way, Millennium 24. Come stay with Millennium News 24. Thank you.
Welcome to Hello America, Millennium Daily News Update. The water began seeping into Kian Johnson's house late Monday night after Tropical Storm Debby had been dumping rain nearly non-stop throughout the day. By Tuesday morning, Johnson's street was underwater and flooding inside his home was ankle-deep. Appliances were swamped. Spiders scurried in search of dry surfaces. Laundry baskets and pillows floated around the bedroom where Johnson, his wife, and their 3-year-old daughter spent the night. We kind of just sat on the bed and watched it slowly rise, Sajanson, 33, who works installing underground cables in the Savannah area. Looking out at the foot-deep water still standing Wednesday in the cul-de-sac outside Hisham, Johnson added, "I didn't think that this was ever going to happen again." For homeowners on Tappan Zee Drive in suburban Pooler west of Savannah, The drenching that Debbie delivered came with a painful dose of déjà vu. In October 2016, heavy rain from Hurricane Matthew overwhelmed a nearby canal and flooded several of these same homes. A Texas man who claimed an intellectual disability in a late attempt at a reprieve was exited Wednesday evening for the killing of a woman who was jogging near her Houston home more than 27 years ago. Arthur Lee Burton, 54, received a lethal injection at the state penitentiary in Huntsville and was pronounced dead at 6:47 p.m. local time. He was condemned for the July 1997 killing and attempted rape of Nancy Adelman, a 48-year-old mother of three. Burton appeared nervous as he lay strapped to the death chamber gurney, and a spiritual advisor prayed briefly over him, the inmate's right leg twitching under a white sheet that covered him from his chest to his feet. "I want to say thank you to all the people who support me and pray for me," Burton said when asked by the warden if he had a final statement, his voice repeatedly cracking with a sharp breath after saying several words. Illinois Governor G.B. Pritzker called Wednesday for the resignation of the sheriff whose deputy fatally wounded Sonia Massey in her home last month after the black woman called 911 for help. Pritzker, a Democrat, said Republican Jack Campbell's hold stepped down because the sheriff has failed. Sean Grayson, 13, faces 3 counts of first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct in the July 6 shooting death of Massey, 36. Campbell, who hired Grayson for the Sangamon County Sheriff's Department in May 2023, reiterated his intent Wednesday to stay in the job. He has failed to explain how he ended up hiring this deputy sheriff who has been fired from other departments, Pritzker said of Campbell at an event in Chicago. He failed to put forward reforms that clearly need to be made, training and other reforms, and still has failed to meet with the Massey family. Bangladesh's incoming interim leader Muhammad Yunus appealed for calm Wednesday and urged all parties to help the country rebuild after weeks of violence that killed hundreds and prompted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to resign and flee to India. Yunus, a Nobel Peace Laureate, was in Paris for the Olympics when he was named interim leader following talks among military officials, civic leaders, and the student activists who led the uprising, a prime minister seen as increasingly autocratic. Yunus made his first public comments in the French capital Wednesday before boarding a plane to return home. He congratulated the student protesters, saying they had made our second Victory Day possible, and appealed to them and other stakeholders to remain peaceful, while condemning any violence since Hasina's resignation Monday. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday described a Ukrainian incursion into the country's southwestern Kursk region as a large-scale provocation as his officials asserted that they were fighting off cross-border raids for a second day. Ukrainian officials remain silent about the scope of the operation. Putin met with his top defense and security officials to discuss what he called the indiscriminate shelling of civilian buildings, residential houses, ambulances with different types of weapons. He instructed the cabinet to coordinate assistance to the Kursk region. The fighting is about 500 kilometers 320 miles from Moscow. Army Chief of Staff Valery Gerasimov told Putin at the meeting via video link that about 100 Ukrainian soldiers had been killed in the battle and more than 200 wounded, Russian news agencies reported. A short break from the Hello America, Millennium Daily News. Stay tuned.
This world continuously revolving around various events. Every minute, every second, something is happening somewhere around the globe, and you want to get connected to that event or to that specific moment. Here we come, Millennium News Hour, to get you connected with top USA and international trending news, which includes local news, political news, world news, business news, health and science related news, entertainment news, sports news, and so on. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia, available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BT Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with Millennium News Hour to get the world news on your fist.
Welcome to Hello America, Millennium Daily News Update. Rapper Nelly was arrested early Wednesday at a St. Louis area casino, and the Missouri Highway Patrol said an officer found 4 illegal ecstasy pills on him. The rapper's attorney said an overzealous officer targeted him and conducted an improper search. The arrest occurred about 4:45 am, and Nelly, 49, was held and then released by police in Maryland Heights, Missouri, the patrol said in a brief online report. The St. Louis suburb is home to the Hollywood Casino and Hotel, and Nelly's attorney, Scott Rosenblum, said in a statement Wednesday evening that the rapper, who grew up in the area, visits it frequently. Online Missouri court records show that Nelly, whose birth name is Cornell Haynes II, was cited in June 2018 in Maryland Heights with operating a vehicle without proper proof of insurance. A judge issued a warrant in December 2021, and it remained outstanding. A Los Angeles County jury on Wednesday found a man guilty of sending his 17-year-old son to kill rapper PNB Rock. After deliberating for about 4 hours, jurors convicted Freddie Trone, 42, of 1 count of murder, 2 counts of robbery, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit robbery. Both sides at the 2-week trial agreed that the teen walked into Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in South Los Angeles in September of 2022 and shot the Philadelphia hip-hop star while robbing him of his jewelry as heat with the mother of his 4-year-old daughter. The prosecution said he was acting on his father's orders, while the defense said Trone was only an accessory after the fact. The now 19-year-old was charged with murder but is in the custody of the juvenile system, and a judge has found that he is not currently competent to stand trial. Steve Martin's next role will not be the Midwestern politician the internet hoped he'd portray. With Maya Rudolph's wildly popular impression of Kamala Harris on Saturday Night Live, fans clamored to see who the late-night comedy show would pick to play Harris' new running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. With similar hairstyles and their signature glasses, many fans quickly drew comparisons between Walz and Martin, who's been a frequent SNL guest but never a formal cast member. The Los Angeles Times reported Wednesday that SNL producer Lorne Michaels called Martin to offer him the role on the upcoming 50th season, premiering Sept. 28, which he declined. "I wanted to say no, and by the way, he wanted me to say no," Martin said. "I said, Lorne, I'm not an impressionist. You need someone who can really nail the guy. I was picked because I have gray hair and glasses." The debate about whether the NFL will expand the regular season once again seems to have been resolved, and now it's a matter of how soon the league gets an 18th game. Commissioner Roger Goodell has talked openly about it. Union Chief Lloyd Howell recently told The Washington Post that the NFLPA is open to doing it before the current collective bargaining agreement expires after the 2013 season, and players seem resigned to the inevitability no matter how they might personally feel. "I mean, I feel like we really aren't got no choice, to be honest," said Seattle Seahawks veteran receiver Tyler Lockett, who said he'd prefer adding another bye week instead of another game to give networks more broadcast windows without taxing the players with another game. "I think that's fairer, but we know it's probably not going to end up like that. So, I mean, you just got to rock with the punches and just be able to go play." Kyle Schwarber homered 3 times and drove in 7 of Philadelphia's 9 runs Wednesday night against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Schwarber hit his 27 homers off the season, leading off the 9th against Michael Grove. It was his second career 3-run homer game, the last coming in 2021. The 7 Arbus are the most by a Phillies player since Carlos Ruiz had that many against Atlanta in 2020. Schwarber had a 3-run blast in the 6th that gave Philadelphia an 8-4 lead. He led off the game with a 2-strike shot off Gavin Stone. The NCAA announced a 4-year show cause order for former Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh on Wednesday for impermissible contact with recruits and players during the COVID-19 pandemic, effectively banning him from college athletics until August 2028. The NCAA said Harbaugh, who left his alma mater to coach the Los Angeles Chargers after last season's undefeated national championship, failed to promote an atmosphere of compliance and violated head coach responsibility obligations. Harbaugh engaged in unethical conduct and failed to cooperate when he denied any involvement in impermissible recruiting contacts despite substantial information to the contrary. The NCAA said in a 48-page decision that several times suggested the coach was not truthful with investigators. Harbaugh will only face the punishment if he makes an unexpected return to college football within the next 4 years. This was in the news update of Hello America, Millennium Daily News Update. Log in to get the latest news or all social networking site Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok is Millennium News 24. Also, our YouTube channel is News Channel M24. Viewers know on both network broadcasting Android and iOS devices, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, also all smart TV platforms. Please enjoy our entertainment and latest news and views. Our Millennium TV apps: Millennium TV USA Android, Millennium News Google.